We are blessed to be able to gather together as friends and fellow Lions. We are blessed to be able to serve this community that we so dearly love. We are blessed that you have watched over us and taken care of us and our families. And we thank you for this food. In the name of the great I am. Amen.
Amen. Flag salute, Jane.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Song by Phil.
My country is of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of thy pilgrims' pride, from every mountain side, let freedom reign. You're welcome.
Margie, do we have any guests?
President Tom, fellow members and guests. Paul has a guest today. Would you like to introduce him?
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, introduce my guest, Connie.
And Kurt has a guest today too.
I guess
he'll introduce him after
Yeah.
the other stuff's done. Yeah.
Program, yeah.
And since I'm right here, can we do sunshine?
You got it.
Thanks.
President Tom, fellow members and guests. I don't have any names, but I know there's so many people ill right now that if you do have any information, please give it to me. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Let's see. How about if we go in the back there by Louis?
President Tom, fellow members and guests, I want to thank everybody that helped with the concessions on Saturday, and everybody that came over and helped clean up yesterday, and for all your help this season. We still have a few more to go. We have the car show Saturday. Tom's going to find out what times and stuff and get back to me. So we'll have ice cream and kettle corn there. So if anybody would like to help with the kettle corn, let me know, and then I can get you the times and stuff. And then also we have the Highlander Festival coming up, and we'll have the ice cream and the kettle corn there, and I think the cotton candy. And so we'll need help for that. So keep that in mind.
We were going to do cotton candy this weekend, but Steve Johnson wouldn't let us because he didn't want it all over his car. Okay, Greg?
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests. And over the summer months, I've heard a lot of comments about the club being out, all we're doing is making money. Well, that money goes to different things in the community. Well, everybody says, well, let's do some service project. I've got one. 2 weeks from Friday is United Way's Day of Caring. And I need 20 people to sign up, would be perfect, to spread bark dust over at, what is it, Callant's Villa over in Kelso. That's right there at Grade Street. And it'll go from 9 until we're finished, no later than 3. And lunch will be provided, and along with water to keep us hydrated. But I need 20 people. The ones that says we need a service project, come see me. You're signed up. Thank you.
What's the date on that?
It's September 10th.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Cindy.
The work parties are dwindling down, and now it's time to enjoy the Lions Club. So there's a calendar of what's happening for the rest of the week or month. Oh, what's in September? Oh, sorry. So there's that. And then Salmon Creek, they're having their meeting Thursday night, but I was just told by Doug that there's going to be Zoom. So if you sign up, I will send you the Zoom link of where it's going to be. It won't be a dinner meeting. And then it's the Wall of Giving. I'll be gone for 2 weeks in September, so I'm giving things out that happen during that month. I'll be going to Louie and I'll be going to Iowa for the USA-Canada Forum. So we'll be gone for 2 weeks. But this is the Wall of Giving. They need 10 people to help tear it down on the 26th. So there's a sign-up sheet here. And then the fun part, we're having our picnic this Sunday. Kind of bad timing, but we can wear our masks, and I'm going to have gloves, so when you go through the potluck, it'll be safe. And we're going to have a cornhole tournament and root beer floats. So that's this Sunday. This Sunday at 1:30. And then there's a training happening September 25th. There's a Zoom link, or you can come to my house and we'll do the training there. It's a Zoom meeting. And this is LERC. Steve Sullinger came and talked to us about LERC. They're rescheduled their picnic for September 18th. And these are lists if you do volunteer work outside of the community. You can fill one of these out and hand it to me, or you can put to our link website. There you are.
Is that Tamil Shanner?
Tamil Shanner, yes. Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, there's going to be a board meeting this Thursday at 8 o'clock at the shop.
Not 7.
Not 7. 8.
8.
You can go there at 7.
I'll be there.
Okay. So if there's any new members that are present here that need to go to a board meeting, you can attend. Okay, so that's all I have. Anybody else had anything? Oh, Greg, or Gary. Sorry, Gary.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, next week being the last meeting of the month is when I typically bring Lions apparel to be sold. I have a doctor's appointment next week in Vancouver, so I won't be here, but I can certainly take orders. I brought if you come see me, we can fill out the order form and I'll get it to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay, I am going to go ahead and turn this over to Kurt.
Okay. Thank you. King Lion Tom, fellow Lions and guests, it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Today's speaker is the Longview School District Superintendent. As a brief background, he was born in Superior, Montana, spent 10 years in Chicago, moved back and graduated from a small town in northern Montana, Shelby, Montana. He received his bachelor's degree from Northern Montana College in elementary education and a master's and doctorate from the University of Montana in educational leadership. He has been a public educator for 36 years. Prior to Longview, he was the assistant superintendent in Kalispell, Montana for 16 years. He is starting his 7th year as Longview's superintendent of schools. He is married for 34 years to Anne Marie, who teaches in Kelso. He has 4 grown children, 3 grandchildren, ages 1, 3, and 5, who he describes as awesome. Please give a warm welcome to Longview School District Superintendent, Dr. Dan Zorn.
Thanks, Kurt. Sorry about that. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Appreciate your willingness to hear what I might have to say. I will tell you, the last 18 months have been something in my world. Probably read a lot about it, actually, in many different formats and the like. But what I want to do today is I'm going to kind of want to do two things with you. First, I want to start and just talk a little bit about our focus moving forward and kind of looking at the future and kind of where we're heading as a system. And then the end of it, I'll talk a little bit about kind of, I guess the impact of the pandemic and kind of where we've been and what we have in place and kind of moving forward with that. My guess is there's going to be a lot of questions about a lot of different things, and I'll try to make sure that I provide time at the end to field any questions that you might have relative to anything that's going on in the school district. Again, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I've been here, well, I can count how many times I've been here because I think that's how many of those beer mugs I've got in my house. And I think this will be the fifth time that I've talked in front of this group, and I've always appreciated those opportunities. So first of all, in terms of kind of, we're really looking forward to the coming year, getting back to, I guess, what I describe as normal-ish. It's not normal yet, but we're getting closer. We're going to be serving our kids all day, every day, all year. No question about that, and looking forward to getting going with that and getting back to really a focus on making sure that we're improving the achievement levels of our kids, the instruction that we're providing our kids, and just staying focused on that. We have spent the last 18 months, well, frankly, in a lot of kind of survival mode and a lot of learning on the run and trying to make adjustments on the fly and do really look forward to getting back to things. Our athletics and our activities are back to normal. Actually, football started last week. We've got all our fall activities going on this week, getting started, and so things are feeling a lot better as we start the 21-22 school year. So as we look into the future, we've always had two goals in my time here in the Longview schools. One is to improve student achievement, and the second is to improve our graduation rates. And we'll remain very focused on those things. One of the, I guess, the unfortunate pieces with the pandemic and all the upheaval that caused within our education system is we're beginning to see some real nice growth from a student achievement standpoint with our kids, and also from graduation rates. Actually, our literacy rates is measured by our reading levels of our kids. We had increased our reading levels across the district by 15%. In terms of 15% more kids. It was like, 500-600 kids that were not proficient the first year that they were doing that, our end of year testing, that were now proficient that we saw, and just felt really good about that and the gains that we're making. As you hopefully know, you know that literacy is a passion of mine. It's a primary focus of the school district is to improve the literacy levels of our kids. We know that kids who read well do well in school. Kids who do well in school graduate from high school. Kids who graduate from high school have a shot at life and a shot at doing some wonderful things as they move into the future. And so we know that first gateway is being effective readers and effective writers. So we have stayed focused on that. We'll continue that focus moving forward. Well, also, our graduation rate since 2015 has risen 14%. In 2015, our graduation rate was 73%. Right now, we're sitting at 87%. And so we feel real good about that as well, and the work that we've done and will continue to do. And again, just looking forward to getting back our focus on those two primary areas. Again, improving improving student achievement, and then also improving our graduation rates as we look at how do we make it more and more beneficial for our kids in terms of what they see, in terms of what the school district's offering them, and how that pertains to their life and their success beyond high school. When we look at our instructional improvement here in the coming year, we're really going to be focused on creating clear purpose and helping our teachers to do just a better and better job of making sure that we have clarity in terms of expectations of our kids, what it is they need to know and be able to do. We know that when there is that clarity, that learning increases significantly. So we'll be really working on that purpose and making sure that our kids understand that purpose. Also working on student engagement. We know the kids that are locked into what's going on, and it really requires a real laser focus on the needs of individual kids, understanding where they are, what they need, and adjusting instruction along the way to be able to meet those needs. It also involves a lot of relationship building, and we know that our kids are in a place that they've been in a tough time over the last 18 months, and levels of engagement have been good for many, but not good for a lot of our kids. And so we've got a lot of work to do there in terms of helping meet some of those social, emotional needs of our kids. And so that'll be a primary focus of what we're doing as well. And then also looking, again, along those same lines, getting right into the classroom environment and the culture, and making sure that our kids are in places where school feels like family to them, where school feels like a place that they belong, that they're honored, that they're appreciated. And we know when those things are in place, kids can achieve at high levels. Second focus is meeting those social emotional needs of our kids. We know that we've got a lot of work to do there and making sure that we're addressing that with our kids through our counseling departments, through the mental health services that we provide in partnership with area organizations, but also just in that day-to-day work that happens with our kids and the relationships our teachers build with our students, and the relationships our students build with each other. A lot of that is wrapped around making sure that our kids are involved. We know that kids that are successful in school often have something that is theirs that ties them to their school and makes them proud. It might be a music program, it might be a club that they're involved in, it might be an athletic program they're involved in, it might be a particular subject area that they're locked into, but knowing that we have a real responsibility to create those experiences for our kids that match their interests, that match their passions, and trying to be able to push them in directions that allow them to see opportunities that help them build upon that. Also a particular equity lens that we'll be looking at. We have about 60% of our kids are coming from some kind of an impoverished background. And so we're coming from financially stressed homes. And there's a lot of work that we have to do there in terms of helping build them up and help them through a lot of the challenges that they might have, and removing some of those barriers that can be there. And so we're really focused on that as well. We're also looking at strengthening the collaboration between our teachers here in the coming year. And we do that through what we refer to as professional learning communities. Every Wednesdays, for about an hour and a half, our teachers sit down in grade levels, in content areas, and then have discussion around improving instruction and how it is that they can help each other to become better teachers, how they can put things in place in each of their classrooms to better meet the specific needs of our kids, whether that be intervention needs that our kids have, emotional needs that they have, or ways in which they can work together to create those relationships that are needed for our kids to be successful. We're also continuing to work on our career technical education and finding ways to expand our career connected learning is what we refer to that as. You think about things like job shadows, internships, those kinds of things, job fairs, different ways that we can get our kids tied into helping them to see the relevance between what it is they're doing in school and how that can help them in the workplace once they leave school. We had what we called a flipped internship over at R.A. Long last year, where in one of our classrooms they partnered with a local engineering firm, and how they did that is the engineering firm gave the teacher a problem for kids to be able to solve that was a real problem that they had within their firm. And kids worked through a project through that whole year, submitted their solutions to that challenge, and then received input back from the engineering firm. And so looking at more and more of those opportunities so our kids begin to see the chances they have for good work here in Longview, and opportunities for them to build a career that may not necessarily require a college education, but often requires those connections to businesses locally, but also requires some additional training and ways in which we can help them get a jump start on that. We have a pre-apprenticeship program as well at our high schools that has helped to do that, to be able to give kids a jump start and kind of a leg up as they look to step into some of the apprenticeship opportunities that may be out there locally. So we'll continue to be working on those things. In terms of what's coming up, you're probably gonna will hear from us sometime this coming spring. We do have a capital projects and technology levy that is expiring at the end of 2022. We also have a bond that is expiring at the end of 2022. So we have a significant amount of, well, I guess, tax burden that's going to come off in 2022. And so we're not looking at a bond coming up, but we are looking at that capital projects and tech levy. So if you just kept your eyes open for that, be able to see what we're looking at doing there. And that's to help with just the regular upkeep of our schools, make sure that we're extending the life of our buildings as long as we possibly can. And then also making sure that the technology needs of our kids are being met within our classrooms. So that's coming up there. As we look at that, we're looking at making that. Actually, we anticipate the total tax bill from education will actually be decreased from where it is right now, even with that capital projects and tech levy, because of the impact of the bond coming off at the end of 2022. But you'll hear more from the school district as we move through that throughout this year. So in terms of kind of where we are, I guess relative to the pandemic and the like, we're just coming off of expanded summer school. We know that our kids experienced some learning loss throughout the year. We traditionally have run a summer school that was approximately about 2 weeks in length, half days that we brought kids in. We expanded that, depending upon the grade level, to a 4 to 5 week experience, and it was full day instruction that we provided also. At the elementary level, we really focused that on reading and mathematics. At the middle and high school level, we got it into more kind of enrichment opportunities for our kids to just kind of keep them immersed in some learning throughout the summer. So we will continue that. We see our learning loss efforts as being a 3-year effort. It's not just a one and done for us. We know that we're going to have to continue to provide expanded summer school offerings throughout the next 3 years, and also looking at extended day opportunities for our kids who are in need of some additional support as a result of the last year and a half. So that's kind of, another focus area that we've got. In terms of what school's going to look like when next Tuesday. It's a week from today is when our kids are coming back. And like I said earlier, they'll be back all day, every day, pretty much kind of starting off just how we ended up the last few months. Last year, although in our middle and high schools, our kids were only in school 4 days a week. Our elementary kids were in school 5 days a week the last 3 months of school last year. So, but we'll all be back full-time every day in each of our schools. Well, from a safety protocol standpoint, we will have a layered approach is what we're referring to it as, because there's a lot of different pieces in that. And some of these are where some of the controversy comes in that I'm sure you've seen a lot about, heard a lot about. My guess is there's probably going to be some questions around that too. But though that layered approach includes some continued distancing requirements that we're looking at. They are smaller than they were last year. It was 6 foot. This year it will be 3. which is going to allow us to just be able to better serve our kids as we work through things. And so, but we'll still be paying attention to that. There is a face covering requirement in all of our schools, indoors. Indoors, outdoors, there is not a face covering requirement. But so all of our kids and our staff members, when indoors, will continue to have the face coverings. We provide on-site testing for COVID. We've done that through a partnership with a state organization that has done some grant writing and provided that. And so we have the ability to do rapid testing and also the full banana, which takes about 2 to 3 days to get the results back. But we can get results back with the rapid test within 20 minutes, which is really helping us to be able to assure that we're able to keep our staff members on our kids and in the classroom and not have to be waiting for a test result. And so we've worked really hard at making that available. We're also have expanded our cleaning efforts. We've hired 8 new custodians throughout the district. Those positions will continue. And they're district-wide. Every one of our buildings has received additional cleaning staffing to help with that. A big piece of what we're doing, we've also improved all of our ventilation efforts. We've done that through a couple ways with different types of filters. We've increased our filter MERV factors. I don't know what MERV stands for. I'm sure some of you out there do, but it's just basically the quality and the beefiness of the filters. So we've increased that level of our filtration systems within all of our HVAC, in our HVAC systems throughout the district. And we've also put into place an ionization filtering system as well, which simply is an electronic system that's attached into our HVAC systems that takes it kind of brings all the particles in the air and brings them into a tighter wad so that they're more easily caught by the filters as it works through the HVAC. And we're also just begun this summer an extensive review of all of our HVAC systems and are looking at identifying areas that we need to continue to upgrade to assure that we've got the best ventilation that we possibly can within our schools. We have an extensive contact tracing process where whenever there is a case that is identified, where we work our way through an extensive process and does result in some quarantining that needs to happen periodically. And what that means is, if it's a staff member, they're out for a certain amount of time. If it's a student, they're out for a certain amount of time. We continue to provide the work home for our kids, treated as we would any absence along those lines. But that's been a real important process for us. We had instances. I don't know, I want to say that we ended up with about 380 instances in our schools last year where someone in our schools was identified with COVID-19. Of those, only 3% of those were contracted at school. And that's because of this layered approach, because of all the things that we were able to put in place where what we found is they were getting it elsewhere and bringing it to school, but through our processes we're able to identify those quickly, isolate it very quickly, and make sure that it didn't become a challenge. We know that we've continued to have challenges along those lines, and we're just going to continue plugging away with it and make sure that we're keeping our schools as safe and as comfortable as we possibly can for our kids and our staff. And then, as you're also likely aware, there's now a vaccination requirement for all school staff members. It mirrors what is out there for state employees. It's a requirement by October 18th. We're right now in process of looking at the exemption process because there will be a religious and a medical exemption for folks, for our staff members who do not want, or because of that medical or religious reason, are unable to be vaccinated. So we're working through that process as well. So that's kind of where we are in all this. It's been, like I said earlier, it's been it's been quite the 18 months, and there's been a, you know, some of it I'm incredibly proud of our staff and our families, and the flexibility that our people have shown, their ability to be able to adjust on the fly. You know, from our teaching staff standpoint, they, boy, real quickly, they had to learn a whole new delivery model for instruction. And, you know, and as the year progressed, I felt actually really quite good about what was being provided our kids. It's certainly less than ideal, but was very proud of the work our teachers did to make sure that our kids continued to receive a quality educational experience in the midst of the challenges that we had out there. The support we got from our families was also incredible, and a lot of that fell on families to be able to make sure kids were getting up and getting the things done that they needed to get. So I've just been so appreciative of that as well. But I will tell you, we're really looking forward to getting back to normal-ish and ultimately back to normal. And that's something that, well, I don't know. There's a lot of hope there for us, and just a lot of anticipation for that place. But for now, we know we've got our kids back all day, every day, and that's what we wanted, and that's what we need. That's what our kids need. That's what our community needs. And you know, just, I don't know, just real excited about having that in place, and then we're doing everything that we can as a system to make sure we're following all the guidance and the requirements that are coming from the State Department of Health. Throughout all of this, we feel real good that we have followed State Department of Health requirements and guidance throughout the whole process. I know there's been a lot of people out there that haven't agreed with us following that, and but that's kind of has been our, I guess, the point at which we've made our decision making as I've worked with our board through that. Proud of our board and the work that they've done as well through a very difficult circumstance. You know, we're not quite through it yet, but we're getting closer and closer, and we're just going to keep plugging away with it. So with that, I'll open it up to questions. Let's go over here.
Dr. Zorn, you and I both have a love of music,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems to me that the instruction model that has been in place for the last 18 months would be a real challenge for music teachers.
Yep, and it has been. What it has required to date is just some, in our band rooms, if you walk in our band rooms, you'll see instrument masks. And so we have actually purchased devices that go over the end of the saxophone and the trumpet that keep the spread from going out, which has allowed us to continue to offer our in-person band and choir same way. Kids are singing in mass still. We've had to increase some of the distancing. Instead of it being, last year we were 6 feet, instead of 6 it was 9, to be able to help continue to provide those experiences. And so it's just required us to take some bigger space. We've also encouraged our people to get kids outside to do some of those things as well, to be able to continue those experiences. When we were remote, it was tougher, although we didn't have the safety concern that went along with that. But our teachers did some pretty cool things just with recording of kids and then splicing all those recordings together. And if you jumped on our website, you would have seen some different things like that. So our kids were able to still perform like they would have traditionally, but we certainly have had to get creative with that. Yes?
What about sports like basketball, or in particular wrestling? Do they have it?
Yes. We had them last year as well. We had real truncated athletic seasons last year. We basically crammed 3 seasons into about 1 season worth of time in trying to get them all in. There's different levels of need. What happens with wrestling and basketball, because they're indoor sports and they're considered to be high contact, is what's in place for that is increased testing. We actually have to test those kids twice a week so that they're able to continue to compete. Last year, they actually competed with masks, This year, they will not be competing or practicing with masks, but the testing will be in place. And so for the basketball team, what it will look like is kids sitting on the bench that are not in the game, they'll be masked, but once they enter the game, mask goes off. Once they go into the locker room, mask goes back on. That kind of a thing. But I think we're in a pretty good place. We're going to be it's going to look a lot more normal. We're not going to be playing football in March. I think that's when we played football last year. But you know, we got some good stuff in. Our kids got some experiences that they would have been robbed of otherwise. You know, you've kind of hit on two things that were just near and dear to my heart with the music and the athletics. And I've also often thought about this, knowing how important those programs were to me when I was a kid and in high school, and to my children when they all went through high school. And I'm just very grateful that we were able to still provide those opportunities last year, even though it was truncated. And then this year it's gonna get back to more looking like it would normally. Yes.
I want to thank you for your help with my adopted senior project that we did for 2 years.
Oh gosh, okay, now I've got a face with the name. That's awesome.
I wanted to, Discovery High School is awesome. The teachers that adopted their own students. I mean, it just brought a smile to my heart. You know, it was so nice. And this project was so rewarding. You and Mary Beth Pack, I mean, you guys are awesome at giving us student games. I mean, it was just a fun project to do.
Yeah, that's a real cool deal, and that's something I just hope stays for, because that's pretty cool for some of our kids, because a lot of our kids may not, you know, their families may not have the wherewithal to be able to give that gift, and that means a lot to kids.
And I was asked to continue, and I said, you know what, I set up a foundation, so I'm going to step forward now.
Yep, I get that. Okay, other questions? Yes?
I had a question about staffing. Many industries are finding it very difficult to maintain employees, and I was just wondering how the logistics work.
You know, so far we've done all right. We've been okay. We are a little nervous with the vaccination requirement, and if we don't know if we're going to lose people or not. And so that's something that we're watching pretty closely. We'll know here in the next couple weeks. We just started last week beginning to collect those records, I guess, to make sure that we're in compliance with the governor's order. But do anticipate that we might lose some people there, which will be difficult. What's been hard is the substitute teacher pool. That's been dwindling quite a bit, and so that's made it difficult for us as well. But for the most part, we're in pretty good shape, but there are still some challenges that are out there.
One of the things that is taking a hiatus because of the pandemic has been the capital bond. I assume that's probably going to get back on the table.
Here's my guess on the capital bond. I don't think you're going to see a bond request from the school district for a few years. And frankly, there's a lot of people that are real angry with us right now. I'll just be straight up about that. And we've gotten a lot of input along those lines. I understand the frustration that people feel. And you know, and frankly, we've tried to honor that, and we've listened, and so I'm not sure that the environment right now is good for us to be looking at that. So I think what you're going to see is our focus will be more on well, that replacement levy that I talked with you about before. There won't be a tax increase. It would just be a continuation of the capital projects maintenance work that we're doing in our tech work. And then we'll need to be starting looking long-term as to when we might have a bond request out there. Now, some of the bond stuff that have been in request before, we've begun to be able to start getting into some of those smaller things with our capital projects fund to get some of those things taken care of. And frankly, the emergency relief funds from the federal government are helping us with our HVAC work. That was a big part of the last bond, and now we have some access to some federal dollars that are going to help us with that air quality improvement throughout the district also. Yes, Sandy?
Quick question about what I believe is a new fence around Mount Sola, or excuse me, Mid Valley
Yep.
Elementary School. I'm assuming that's to increase security in that dispersed campus. Is that new just this summer?
Yes, it is, and that's been, we've actually added some fencing at there. We're also adding some fencing up at Columbia Heights. We did the same over at Kessler. And a lot of that is exactly around that, is trying to control access to, frankly, keep the bad guys out, I guess, is kind of a thing. And what you try to do in school safety measures is try to limit the numbers of entrances and the numbers of ways that people can get onto a campus. And the fencing helps us to do that. Mint Valley in particular, there's all kinds of outdoor entrances into that school. You would never design a school in that way today. It would never be designed that way because it would all be funneled to one entrance and then kind of work out from there. So we've tried to make some chicken soup out of that chicken poop. How's that? And trying to, all right, let's do it. And we've tried to do that with fencing. So I see you're standing up, which is usually a signal that you're done, Dan. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll stick around too. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Zorn, I'll give you another cup
They're awesome.
and another application.
That's great.
And thank you.
Find somebody who's good at sanding cats.
Yes.
Okay.
Great job.
Greg has a thing for United Way, Caring Day, Day of Caring, September 10th. The picnic is August 19th at Tam O'Shanter.
29.
29th, what did I say?
90.
Okay. Last week, yeah. There's a visitation on the 26th, Salmon Creek. I think it's by Zoom. Okay, there's a board meeting at 8 o'clock at the shop on Thursday.
Includes breakfast.
And the committee for the picnic will meet over there after the meeting.
Gary is taking orders for apparel. I will be gone next week, so Lloyd's going to have to run the meeting.
We'll be nice.
She can if she wants. No. Greg wants up to 20 people for that event. Also, I'd like to thank everyone that's helped out with the wagon, kettle corn, cotton candy, all of our events that we've had this year. They've been very, very successful, and it's all because of you people. And I'd also like to thank Mike and Michelle for all the last minute things that they came up with to help us when we didn't have food and items that we needed for. So all that said, unless anybody has anything else, Cindy, do we have any senility?
No, we don't.
Oh, good, everybody signed in, good. Okay, let's go with their tickets. They're blue this year, I guess, for this time around. I don't know, last time they were white, now I got white for something else. So this is for the 50-50. 208-4918. Oh.
I lost the card, sorry.
Okay, the white ticket. 4732 8-5.
Hey,
Where would you like it to go?
anybody guess where I'd want it to go?
No.
LCIF.
Okay, and then we have baked goods. I got it this time, Jane.